Hi to all, my name is Ivan Perish and I'm Business Development Manager at Spica. And thank you for joining today's webinar where we will talk about the modern energy management solutions that we as a company implement in the region. So thank you all for joining and hope it will be something useful for you to listen today. Regarding Spica, for those who don't know about us, it's a group of companies which is working strongly in so-called Balkan region, but with the recent solutions and products, we have started very strongly working toward the Western Europe, and where our products and our solutions are being very well adopted and accepted by the hotels which operate there. As you can see, the list of the countries on the list is the ones where we have some references already. That list is actually much bigger, but this is only related to hospitality business and to hospitality references done by Spica. And talking about our hospitality segment and what we do, we are actually partners of Intrel, which is the very well-known global producer of the room automation systems. And mostly our webinar will be about those systems today and how we manage to save energy and how we implement them in existing hotels around Europe. We are also partner of Wincard. Everyone knows it by Wincard, which is part of ASSA ABLOY, where we are exclusively covering a few countries with door lock systems for front of house. And also there is a part which we develop and install by ourselves, which is time and attendance system, which can also be expanded to the back of house, but which is really strongly accepted and well designed for hospitality business. Hospitality is, we always say, toughest part of time and attendance business, but with our products which is specifically designed for the market, we are managing to overcome all difficulties in this aspect also. Regarding some history overview of what we were doing in hospitality and what we started with Wincard at first. So Wincard was the first vendor which developed access control to the hotel room, and it was starting from, I think, 1976, which was the first time when the punch card system was developed and used in a hotel. And you can see some picture here, which is really old in today's look, but it was really something new and modern at the time. So it was 1976, as said, and later in 90s it was continuing with development, and then we got to a point where the magnetic door locks were presented. Magnetic door locks is something which is still relatively in use by some hotels that still keep the, let's say, the older system, an older version of system, but probably in some near future there will be upcoming upgrades. This was the point in 90s when hotels started thinking about the ways of saving energy, and our first touch with magnetic door locks and hotels trying to save energy was with implementing magnetic card holders. So I said the hotels that have magnetic door locks still have magnetic card holders. They work. They are not ideal in today's world with a lot of mobiles. Every guest having a mobile phone, which affects the quality of the cards, but they are still there in a lot of with a lot of our clients. So magnetic card holders, which are completely standalone devices, were the first, let's say, energy management we try to do. When you place card there, you have power. When you leave card from the magnetic card holder, you are losing power in the room. This is very basic, but it was something for beginning. Then in the 2000s, the RFID lock was presented, and we installed it in 2006 was our first reference in our region, actually in Croatia. And when thinking about energy management, we changed the technology, and what happened, we had to find a way to change energy management that we were using. So RFID card holders were presented, and this is something which is, I would say, 95% of the hotels in our region is using RFID card holders today, and even in new projects and even in buildings which are being refurbed, this is still kept as a solution. And later we will show what could be beneficial and what could be the good ideas for maybe updates of this kind of solution. In 2014, this is what we always like to mention, was the first implementation of mobile key, which was done by Starwood, today Marriott. And the idea behind the mobile key was to avoid fees by Booking.com, Airbnb, Expedia.com, and so on, and to make guests do a direct reservations through hotels app. And this lived well and is living well and is moving on in further development with mostly with the big international chains, but it's also quite well adopted by smaller and privately owned properties. Now, when we come and speak about energy management again, we were moving from punch card to magnetic cards, then RFID cards. Now we have a mobile key, and the problem which is still active, is what to do with energy management. If you want to have a mobile key, then to have mobile key opening the door lock, and when you enter the room to still have a RFID card holder doesn't make too much sense. So what happens is that you will get another card, and if you get another card, then you don't need the mobile app. So we had to think, and the market had to find a solution for properties like that. I use this red arrow just to remind myself that this is actually, as I said, where the most of the hotels are still yet today, and what is still done in the projects, either new builds or retrofits, it's still being implemented strongly. So we partnered with Intrel, which is really a global leader in hotel automation. The HQ of company is in Dubai because of the growing business there, and entire manufacture and design and everything is done in Italy, in factory in Milano. And what we offer is room automation systems, which can allow you to save energy in a completely different way than what was seen in a short overview of development in the past. So we have a few solutions that we will talk about. Some are completely designed for a new build, some are designed for luxury segment, while we also have something which is relatively new, but it's completely designed and one-on-one fit for existing properties, where you can get energy management in the most modern possible way without having to conduct a single new wire in your existing rooms. So we will talk a little bit about the products later on, but at first, just to cover what is Intrel as a company doing. So it's being installed globally. It's well adopted. It's being used by almost all international global chains, and and it's managing to get quite big energy savings. I know there is a lot of talk, and then people are always talking about energy saving, but behind it, it should be a system that can actually prove, and that can actually prove itself not only on a paper, but with some, let's say, real life results. And this is what we will show in these presentations, because we did, and Intrel did one big pilot property, actually two big pilot properties, which are used to measure energy savings, and we will show you results of that. Yeah, so when it comes to solutions overview, there are three possible solutions that we offer. The guest room management system, which is completely custom, you can control lights, HVAC, curtains, underfloor heatings, and so on. Energy management system, which is a light version of GRMS, meaning that it can strictly be used to combine HVAC based on occupancy. So we are controlling HVAC based on occupancy and PMS statuses. The panels are still custom, but the controller capabilities are much lower, meaning that the price is more affordable for properties. EMS is also a solution which can be used for existing properties, like the ones that have some older versions of the building management systems that they would like to change. So this is our experience with EMS. EOS is a brand new product solution, actually, which is combining entire room management system in one device, a wall-mounted thermostat, which is much more than thermostat can do a lot of controls, connects through your Wi-Fi to cloud. You can have over-the-air updates and really advanced control of your HVAC. So what is the familiar and what is the same for all the solutions is they are only using the latest and really modern technologies. They only work on Wi-Fi or local area networks. We don't do any other way of backbone communications. And also combining the Bluetooth, Zigbee, Matter, and Thread protocols is something which is added to the products. When it comes to the way how we detect a guest in a room, and what is, let's say, the industry step, which is slowly becoming standard now. This is something we changed in the past few years. But as I said, we are still at car holders as a primary solution, and in our region, we are trying to push new solutions which can allow much greater energy saving. So the motion detection is primary key here, and the guest detection is done as follows here. So the guest arrives to the room, presents a card or mobile phone or mechanical key, whatever, or opens the door in any way, any possible scenario. And the room management system, which is controlling the room energy, is actually being notified about this. So when someone opens the door, the system is being notified, and system activates the motion detectors, which are part of the room. Most of the time, they are part of the control device, like on the right here, which is wall-mounted thermostat, which has implemented motion detector. So the guest opens the door, the motion starts with scan. The doors get closed, of course, when the guest enters the room. And if the motion detector detects the guest movement at any point, any moment, we know that the guest is inside the room. Guest has a full control, can turn HVAC to any level he wants, can play with lights, can make any scene he wants. Of course, all of this is limited by what operator allowed, and what is doable in the room can be limited. But this is the way we know the guest is in the room. We are passively scanning if there is any other movement. So the guest can actually go to sleep, not move the entire night, but we know he's there. We will not turn the lights if he kept them on, or we will not reduce the level of HVAC, and we will not try to save energy on the fan coil and on the running speed of it. So this is the way we are detecting someone entering the room. So how to detect when someone left the room is covered on the next slide. So the same trigger again is someone exiting the room. So you need to open the door to start the scene of checking if the guest is still in the room. So when the door is open, either through Zigbee, Bluetooth, the door lock sends a signal that the door is opened. Thermostat and any other field devices are trying to find if there is anyone left in the room. Is there any more movement? If it's not, after some time, let's say 20 minutes, 30 minutes, we decide, okay, the guest presence is not active anymore. There is no one left in the room. Go back to energy saving. This can be done in more levels. Let's say in a 2-level scenario. After 20 minutes, we can reduce HVAC to, I don't know, or increase in the summer for 1, 2, 3 degrees maximum. And after 10 more minutes, we can kill the lights in the room. So it doesn't need to be simultaneous altogether. We can separate this lights control from HVAC control or something else. So when it comes to solutions, all of them, so all 3 solutions we described before, GRMS, EMS, and EOS, are detecting the guest presence the same way as described on slide above. So the EMS, as we said, is a light version of standard room automation, which focuses mostly on the HVAC control. It uses Wi-Fi, which means that it's good for existing properties. The only requested and required wire here is to have a wire between wall-mounted thermostat and the room control unit, which is somewhere in the ceiling or in the electrical distribution board usually. So we can overtake a lot of existing at all configurations for the hotels that maybe believe they cannot do it without doing a full site refurbishment. We can easily overtake solutions which hotel maybe find not up to date, need update, are out of life, not anymore running. You cannot get spare materials and so on. So this can be simply overtaken by this system. So this system can detect if the guest is inside, same way as we described before, and based on that, control the temperatures, I don't know, turn on all the lights if the guest is not in the room, and so on. It's customizable, so what you see on the wall can be customized, but it has some limitations when compared to the greater GRMS system, of course. So the GRMS, which is a full-scale system, is completely custom-made system. So everything you can see is custom. You design every single icon, how many icons you will have, 1 panel, 10 panels. So there are more or less no limits to get what you want to have in your room. Of course, this is for new builds or refurbishments because it's not easy to implement this in existing property. And what you get is that you can go completely up to date with your luxury automation and combine with the luxury side that you are probably developing. So anything you want to do, from lights, all kinds of scenarios, curtain controls, blinds controls, heating, cooling, anything you have in a room, it can be covered by this device and by this system, of course. System uses local area network, so it can be wireless, but when you have a refurbishment, then you can conduct a wire and have wired connection. But every room is sort of computer, and you have a direct control using your own hotel network. You don't need to have separated network for GRMS. So either way, you are developing a network that you need to have in hotel, and we will actually use the same network for this system. The design capabilities and options of GRMS are, as I said, unlimited. There are dozens of different sizes, icons that can be used from existing library, which is already huge, or you can draw a new icon and we can implement it on the panels. The backlights can be different. You can have different colors for different scenarios. Also, we can add power sockets to the panel. So on a bedside, you can have a simple one-piece device which has a power sockets implemented together with a touch panel which controls the lights, any color, everything is doable. So the new series of panels that are being sold, maybe starting from a little bit more than a year back, is updated version of the older panels. And the new things that we have now are audio feedback and far field proximity sensors. So meaning that for luxury segment, you will not have any lights emitted from the panels, which is always tricky when you have a guest which wants to have absolutely no lights on TV, on fire detector, smoke detector, same on the panel. So you will have a panel which is completely turned off. You don't see it, but when you walk to it and when you come to a little bit less than 1 meter, then it will light up. So it will have a light backlight in the night, and you can see all the icons, and you can choose and select the scenario or whatever you want to do. Besides this, every panel can have a motion detector. So this is also custom, and every panel can have a temperature sensor and a humidity sensor, which allows you to control temperature in your room a bit more. So this is an example of GRMS with, let's say, 4 different positions of panels where you can have temperature and humidity sensing in any of them or in all of them. And then we can use those measured temperatures to combine. So like next to the window or balcony door, temperature is higher than on the entrance. So then we can combine, I don't know, use the average temperature as the real field temperature, or use the highest or use the lowest temperature. And with that, we guide the HVAC system to do exactly what the guests request to have in the room. Also, the icons on the panels are the biggest in the industry and 50% larger than the closest competitors. So they are really, really simple. They are big enough for the guests to understand and to see what they are doing with the room automation system. Also, as mentioned, any icons can be added. If you have some specific light, like on a picture here, we can create an icon from it, or you can design an icon and we can implement it to the panel itself. When it comes to the family of panels overview, these are the, let's say, standard versions. which can be again customized even more, but you can have double panels, combined thermostat with more functions, big panels with up to 18 icons, really all the kind of different options with the power sockets, the outside panels in front of the room corridor where you can add reader, room number, whatever you need, and so on. So as mentioned, the panel for bedside, which can be interesting for the luxury segment, is completely customized with either glass switch. We can accommodate up to 9 buttons controlling lights, the privacy, service requests, anything. Or you can add the thermostat with a few more light buttons, let's say, on the left. This is the one side of the bed, while the other side of the bed will be completely mirrored. So always the panel and the touch icons are closer to the guest than the power sockets. And the last part of the family that we can have are tabletop panels, which also are completely custom. Anything can be on them, any control, thermostat, any requests. So everything can be added to the panels which are being on a table and connected through wire to the room automation. When it comes to the technology itself, so the room controllers can be delivered in different sizes based on the project demands. This of course affects the end user and total pricing of the system. The smaller controller can do less stuff than the biggest one can do, but besides this, any controller can be expanded for any new requests with any expansion modules, which can be add more relays and cover more technical aspects of the room. Also, controllers are regularly being updated, so every property will be up to date with the system itself. When it comes to the third, let's say, solution level we discussed, it's called EOS, which is a system which is all in one. So the thermostat which combines entire room automation system in one device and is specifically designed for existing properties. So some of you listening on this webinar will maybe find this most interesting, but let's go step by step. So yes, every hotel needs thermostat in their room, and approximately, I don't know, up to 40, maximum 50% of room energy consumption is actually related to heating and cooling. So to have device which can save you energy there can be very interesting. So most of properties we know that don't have any kind of solutions, any kind of room automation system or building management expanded to their rooms, have standalone thermostats. And here are some pictures of what we usually see on walls at the properties that we work in. Of course, these thermostats are not smart, let's say, so they don't save energy. They will do its thing. When you set them to do fan speed 3 and you leave a room, they will still stay, and in fact will be running in a full speed without the thermostats knowing that there is no presence in the room anymore. This is where we introduced EOS, which is actually saving money for the operators because it's a digital thermostat, which is a full-scale solution, can be connected anywhere, can be installed on any site by simply dismounting your old thermostat and mounting EOS using the wires you have already beneath. And for what you don't have, we can connect it using wireless protocols and wireless communications we can do within a room. But the device is being constantly innovated. It's connected to the cloud, so any new update the hotel wants to add can be sent to all your rooms using the over-the-air updates. So without anyone having to come on site and to do anything physically in the rooms. So on the right, you can see how the device actually looks like, and on the left, you can see what's there. So what is from the technology side implemented in this device. So here is one sentence we always use: EOS is today's thermostat with tomorrow built in. The point is that it has much more sensors, it has much more antennas, it has much more capabilities than it needs today. So there are a lot of parts of it which are not being used. And the idea is, with the development of technology, with different requests, with a new kind of gets, we will actually add features in the future. So maybe some of the sensors which are not used now can be very useful. And the point is to keep and stick with the same piece of hardware for a long time. So your investment today should be long term and should cover any your requests in the upcoming, I don't know, 5-10 years and so on. So how does it look on the layout as we did with GRMS and DMS before? The EOS is marked with T on the wall, and it's actually covering the room. So EOS also detects if there is a presence in a room or not, with the same approach as all the systems. And based on that, it controls HVAC and reduces your carbon print and the amount of energy being wasted in the room. It's cloud solution, so everything you see, you can easily check on your mobile. You don't need to be on site, and it's very, very simple to implement, which will be shown in a few upcoming slides. So we can upgrade any room with standalone thermostat to smart room with EOS in less than 30 minutes. So it takes up to 15-20 minutes to electrician to install it on the wall, and maybe 5 to 10 more minutes to download, setup, and to complete the room configuration. So how is it done? In advance, we are discussing with the clients. We are checking all possible scenarios that the client want to have. And also we are adding the technical parts of the currently used HVAC and what needs to be done to make it running in a more modern way. So everything we gather, all the data we took from you, we insert it in one cloud configuration specifically for your property. We allow connections to the specific client, to specific persons within your organization, and then we go on site prepared. So before going on site, everything is set in the cloud. Commissioning is done very simply. So after the device installed on the ward, which takes up to 20 minutes, all we need to do is to add a room number we are in and download the setup from the cloud. This is really useful because that means that anyone from hotel itself can change the device, can do the commissioning, doesn't need to have engineering level of knowledge. So everything you need to know is which room number you are in. So this drastically reduces the errors in the commissioning process. Yeah, so the device, the technician uses the mobile phone, connects using the Bluetooth to the device, and device itself uses your LTE network or your 5G network, mobile network, to connect to the cloud and to download the data. Once the download is done and finished, the device is automatically running and it connects to the cloud using your hotel wireless at that point. So when it comes to the wireless, is what I forgot to mention is EOS is using hotel wireless. So it's not using something new, something extra, some special network. So we are using the wireless you already have in the rooms, and through it we connect to the cloud. So you have online rooms without a single touch in the infrastructure of your Wi-Fi. And when it comes to what we are talking about, the energy saving and how to achieve it, as I mentioned, this presentation will show a short overview of the pilot, which was done by one big international global brand. And this pilot was done for a few months, 3 months for the beginning, then later in the 12 months, we got the full results. But the idea was to implement EOS in all of these rooms and to use a third-party company, which is from Gaia Group in this case, which will come to site and do the audit, compare the energy consumption before and after the system implementation. Of course, energy saving will be affected by the way and how strongly you wanna, aggressively you wanna set the system in the rooms. It will be affected by occupancy and so on. And we could only estimate something, but at the end, it looks like that our estimation was actually much below what was actually measured by the company who was doing the energy audit. So for property A, out of 2 properties that we did, the property had 480 rooms, and occupancy was huge. It was 96%, and it was really hard to do the implementation for start. But since it's very simple, as I said, it takes up to 30 minutes. In between guest changes, while the guest was out of the room, the staff was entering the room, and we were installing the thermostats and commissioning them while the guest was out of the room. And this was done in 10 days total. And 10% of the rooms, it took us a little bit more because they have long stay guests and they don't allow the entrance to their room while they are there. So we had to wait for them to the checkout and then to enter those rooms. So it was really quickly done. So in 15 days, in 2 weeks, property of almost 500 rooms was completely updated to the online system of smart thermostats. The pilot was initially done for 3 months, as said, and results after 3 months was that on property 1, the one with 500 rooms, there was 45% of less runtime of fan coil in the room. So when compared to what was there before and what was done in the rooms that had, let's say, dummy system, comparison was that almost 50% of runtime less in the rooms with EOS than in rooms that had the configuration of dummy device. So on the second property, it was 37. These project properties had a really high occupancy, as said here. So the energy audit on a 90-day pilot, they were like close to 40%. And the amount of energy saved by thermostat was 1.7 megawatt hours per room, and meaning 1.2 tons of CO2 carbon emission less than before. So it affects the hotel performance strongly, and they decided to keep the system after the pilot, and they are still running on it today. When it comes to a full year pilot, the fan coil runtime reduction was to 41%. The occupancy was 92%, so it wasn't 96, but it was still really high. And compared to the global brand that we were working and that this property was part of their international hotel group, they had 25% of more nights and more guest stays than the year before, so they were increasing. But in comparison and how to come to the real energy saving and what will be the cost saving at the end. So we used bills from 2022 and bills from 2023, and it was easily to calculate that the saving was 15,000 euros in between those 2 years. But the occupancy rate was more than what is the brand standard. So this brand has 17% globally occupancy rate, and when we calculated with occupancy rate 70%, then the saving is actually 68,000 euros on electrical energy invoices for that year. This is really big, and for the customer it was easy to calculate the return of investment. And I said they decided to keep the system, and the international brand actually decided to expand it strongly to their properties globally. Yeah, so these are actually measured data, and everything I'm having here is actually provided to us by a company that did audit. So not us, not investor. It was the third-party company which was hired by investor to measure everything. And we have all the data available for the ones that want to know more. We can always connect and we can discuss further this pilot. So our estimation at the beginning was that thermostat can save maybe around 1 megawatt hour and 0.771 tons of CO2 per year. But when we finished with the pilot, we realized it was actually much more. So the results from the real life pilot and being measured by the company which does stuff like that was actually much better than what we estimated. And we believe this was really a strong factor in the brand deciding to work with the systems itself. So based on the level, as we said, the level of what you want to have, these are some table where based on what you add to your system is how high you can go and how far you can go with energy saving. And yeah, it can go from 0% if you stick with the thermostat which doesn't save energy, and can go up to 10, 20, even to 45, which is the maximum level we managed to achieve. And that's it. So hope this webinar was useful for you, and you can actually conclude that there are still ways to save on energy which are maybe not that well implemented in this part of Europe, but they are slowly arriving, and we believe that in the future the hotels will actually want to upgrade this way, because there are real numbers behind, and the lot can be achieved, and the operational costs can be reduced. The energy and utilities are actually second highest after the employee salaries, second highest cost of the property itself. So we believe this is a smart way of approaching and tackling the problems with increasing of electricity price. So that's it. Once again, thanks you all for joining. And if you have any questions, we left an email below. Feel free to write, ask any questions, and we will respond to you in the shortest possible period. Okay, thank you.